Hello, hockey fans! Welcome back into the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio. The draft is done, and we are mere hours away from free agency starting up. It's a busy time in the offseason in the NHL. I am Adam Karnick. Zach Puplis is along with us. We are going to break down at least some of the NHL draft, go through the first round, talk about some of the big names that moved, some of the teams that did well, some of the teams that made some interesting decisions. There's been trades made before the draft, during the draft, after the draft, all kinds of stuff. There's teams moving and shaking and getting lined up for free agency to start tomorrow afternoon. We will be taking a peek into that as well. And then, if there's time, we will dive back into our one question for teams across the Eastern Conference. Lots to do tonight, and only 1 hour to get it done. Let's drop the puck. Let's sound the horn. Let's have a show. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome back into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Zach along with you tonight. We're going to be breaking down the NHL Draft. Going to be talking also some free agent previews going on. Lots to get through. Going to be a busy show tonight. Before we get any further, let's acknowledge our sponsor here at the network, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, or Facebook search Southern California Warriors. IE Sports Radio, we've been around for 8 years now, constantly bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans. And with your help, we're ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout out on all of our shows. Want to shout out our sponsors now: Bay Area Raised, Emlost Great, Key to the Gate, and our anonymous Patreon supporter. Thank you for your continued support. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And IE Sports Radio is available for you on all the major platforms at IE Sports Radio. That's how you find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, and Facebook. Search IE Sports Radio. This show is available for you on Twitter as well. Just search IESR Neutral Zone. I am at Adam _Karnick. Zach is at the Pumpless. Good evening, Zach. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you, Adam?
It's been a wild, busy, crazy couple of days trying to keep up with all the moves happening across the NHL. It has been a full-time job just trying to keep up with all the news that's been breaking across the league.
Oh, I'll bet, for sure.
And if you are listening live tonight here on the show, by the way, you can hop on into the chat. That's where we find Taryn Rodriguez and Cale Henderson. Good evening, gentlemen. Taryn, of course, is wanting to know how his Anaheim Ducks did in the draft. We will be discussing that, plus the other teams throughout. And Cale Henderson, he's on right after us, talking all things Las Vegas with Sin City Sports. So be sure to stick around and check them out. So Zach, let's start with the draft. 7 rounds over 2 days. Sounds like the NFL, but it's really not like the NFL draft because, these are teenagers. These are 18-year-old kids, by and large, that are getting picked by teams. Most of these kids, if they see the league, it'll be a couple, 2-3 years down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Well, first off, they did it internationally in Montreal, which makes sense for the sport being, populated by 2 different countries. The NFL has extended theirs all throughout the U.S., but I don't know if they've done it internationally yet. So that's the difference right there. But yeah, also definitely the younger younger market for all the different athletes.
Yeah, they were able to have the draft live in Montreal. This is the first time since the pandemic that they've been able to do that. So exciting there. And then the home team Canadians had the first overall pick, which that's always fun.
Oh, yeah, that's just a double dose of excitement there.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about, they can be a gracious host to themselves, I guess.
Right.
And a quick in the chat room, Taryn and Cale were talking about Anaheim Duck forward Rickard Rakell re-signing with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they were both lamenting how they missed him when he played for the Ducks. But Rickard Rakell signing a 6-year extension a few days ago to stay with the Penguins. We will be discussing the Penguins because while Rakell is sticking around, there's another well-known Penguin that may be on his way out the door when free agency starts up tomorrow. So lots to be getting to tonight. But let's start with the draft. So we had the Montreal Canadiens first overall hosting the draft. And I'm going to get this name so wrong. I've practiced it. I've tried it. I know I'm going to get it wrong. So my apologies up front. But the first overall pick to the Montreal Canadiens from Slovakia, from that bronze-winning Olympic Slovakian hockey team, Juraj Slafkovsky went first overall. I hope I was remotely close on that pronunciation. For years, we've been hockey prognosticators have been talking about for this draft that the guy that was going to be going first overall was Shane Wright, the centerman, the 6-foot centerman from Canada. The pandemic, it feels like, really hurt him. He falls all the way down to 4 to the Seattle Kraken. Is that, what do you think, Zach? Is that good on the Kraken for taking Shane Wright, or is that a gamble on a guy who his stock has been falling of late?
I think it's a good move for the Kraken. They say that he bears greater NHL readiness than the average number 4 pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that I would not be surprised if he winds up playing in the NHL at some point this season. I mean, he's been playing professional hockey since he was 15 years old.
Yeah, they say he's a dynamic, exciting player who will invigorate the Kraken fan base.
I think just about anybody could do that for the Kraken, but yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, after a lackluster first year, if you compare it to, Vegas' first year, there's something to cheer about.
And then we had another Slovakian player go second overall. This was, I think I saw this was just the second time in something like the last 20 years that we've had the first two players be countrymen, but it's not the U.S. or Canada. We had Simon Nemec from Slovakia go to the defensiveman go to the Devils at second overall. So we had two Slovakians go 1-2. Quick fun trivia question. Can you guess?
Time in NHL history that a country outside of Canada and the U.S. produces the first 2 picks in the draft.
Can you quick guess what country was the last one to do that outside of the U.S. or Canada?
It helps that it's the next sentence in the article I'm reading.
You're cheating.
And that this player is a major move being free agent this week, it sounds like.
You're cheating, sir.
Russia.
Mother Russia.
Well, at least I'm not mentioning his name yet, so we're still saving the tease for later.
Yes, we're playing the long game with this tease here.
But they're definitely having quite a year. Slovakia, anyways.
And then Kale jumps into the chat and just says, "Yeah, Russia."
The northern powers that are good at hockey.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about Russia a little bit later on with this draft because I feel bad. Well, I guess we could do this now. I feel bad for the couple of Russian kids that went in the first round because they dropped. I mean, the young man, and I'm going through and making sure I'm not missing somebody here from Russia. Lots of Canada, Sweden, the U.S., I believe the first, it would make sense that this young man was the first Russian off the board. And indeed he was. Another name that I have to give Mike Pat props for this. He was talking about it on Sunday night during his show. And he got this young man's name pretty much right. I am going to butcher it. Ivan Miroshnichenko was the first Russian, and he went 20th. And, this is a young man that's Ovechkin Jr., He's 6'1", $185, right-handed shot that has a wicked one-timer. Gee, who does that sound like? And he's from Russia. Who does that sound like? Who does that remind you of?
Ovechkin?
Exactly. And he fell all the way to 20. And in part, and Kale asks this in the chat, do they drop because of the political stuff? And yes, not necessarily for strictly political reasons, the NHL and Russia now, they've technically severed ties. So it's not as easy to get a young man from Russia into the States now to play hockey. I mean, it's not quite like getting the Cuban players over here to play baseball. It's not quite that life or death, but the NHL has severed ties with the KHL and several of the other Russian leagues. So it's not nearly as easy to get the Russian players over here. Now, to Cale's point, the reason they've severed ties is because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So there is a bit of a political fallout from it. But still, I feel for these guys, Miroshnichenko and who was the second one? He went a little later down. Oh, to the Wild, Danila Yurov, who was a right winger that possibly may have gone higher than he did. He still winds up in the first round, but it's possible he fell because of the political and lack of cooperation now between the NHL and the Russian leagues.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's definitely collateral damage.
Yeah. Works out well for the Capitals, though. I mean, Ovechkin's obviously not going to retire anytime soon, but they've already got his replacement.
Right. Are we sure they didn't just go to the lab and clone him?
They may have. It might have been easier to get him over here at this point.
I was just going to say, yeah. One last thing on Slovakia, note on Slovakia before we move on. Nemec was quoted as saying, yeah, small country, but we have really good players, and now more and more players will be better like we are. Everyone is proud, and we're proud too.
Yeah, well, and winning a bronze medal in the Olympics will help do that too, help get everybody's attention on you too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Slafkovsky, number one pick, quote, yeah, I think out of 5 million people, at least like 4 are up, and they are cheering for us. Slafkovsky said when they asked about what the moment meant back home in Slovakia, quote, at the end of the day, that's important. We are from Slovakia, and we represent the country, and I'm just happy that this happened to us.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool for those young men that they get to go high in the draft and get to have their big moment. And it is neat that they're from a country that doesn't often get featured like that too. So hopefully it'll be the start of something. So we had our first U.S. player come off the board at 3 to round out the lottery. The Arizona Coyotes went with Logan Cooley from the U.S., a National Team Development Program product. Cooley is, I love this. He has cited Patrick Kane as being an inspiration for his game. I'm all for it. Anybody that wants to play like Kane, I'm all for. Despite all of my angst with the Blackhawks over the last several seasons, Patrick Kane is still my favorite player. I still just take everything else out of it and just watch him play hockey. Oh, it's fun. So to have this young man be molding his game after that, he's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And the Coyotes did it while being the best dressed, I hear, as well.
Well, they came out in matching suits.
Right? Which, red, white, and blue, okay, patriotic, or is it red, white, and blue because it's Canadian colors? They're the host city of the draft. I mean, it could be either. But so yeah, nice and sharp dress, and apparently there's good, nice comfortable suits as well. And did you hear about the insides of them?
I was going to ask you the exact same question. Yes, go ahead.
The insides, those little coyote heads on them. Stitched into it.
And when you push the button inside the pocket, they all howled in unison too.
That's where I stopped believing you.
Oh, you think that would have been too far to do that? No, that is neat. That is cool. I think the quote I saw from one of the guys in the front office, he was saying, look, we are a team. We should look like a team going up there to make the pick. So cool. Good for them.
Yeah. General Manager Bill Armstrong was quoted as saying, remember in Carolina when they did the post-game celebration? Armstrong said, referencing the storm surge, cool, everybody made fun of them. Now it's culture. It's fun. The NHL's going to buy into it. Even the lining.
Yep, exactly. Have some fun with this. I'm reminded of, okay, Taryn, keep track because we're going to be talking about another sport here on Neutral Zone. Keep track for us here. I'm reminded of the story from when ESPN asked to start broadcasting the NFL draft. That was the start of sports leagues drafts being on television. Before that, it just wasn't done. It wasn't heard of. And the NFL commissioner at the time, Paul Tagliabue, when ESPN approached him, he was, really? I mean, you're going to be, it's going to be like televising somebody reading the phone book, but sure, have at it. You've got to do something with these drafts to make it fun and exciting and make it worth watching so that it's not just somebody reading names off of a list, So kudos to the Coyotes for coming out in their silly matched suits. Why the hell not?
Right. However, there was one hater, doubter, etc., whatever you want to call them, on Twitter about it. He said, "Yep, money that could have been spent on leasing a proper arena."
Well, the arena thing, we're going to be making fun of that for months. That's nothing they can do about that now.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, I see it from both sides. I mean, yes, that's good. Yeah, money that probably could have been spent better elsewhere, but at the same time, I mean, it's showing team unity, and it's they're celebrating their draft picks, and what do they say? No press is bad press.
Yeah,
it's
you got to do something to lighten up the mood at these things. Why not go out there, have some fun, have guys do handstands when they get out there. The Tampa Bay Lightning's first pick came out there with a U.S. flag on his belt buckle, for God's sake. Just do something to have fun with it. Then it gives us something to talk about other than just the names,
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, any kind of publicity they can drum up about their franchise, that helps, the publicity off the field might help things, on the ice. Publicity off the ice might help any kind of publicity on the ice. Any kind of performance on the ice.
Yeah. So to get to Taryn's question, and I know, Cale, you're a Ducks fan as well, so we'll get here over to the Anaheim Ducks first pick at 10th overall from Saginaw of the Ontario Hockey League. Pavel Mintyukov went 10th overall. A defensiveman, 6'1", 197. A lot of big guys went in this draft. A lot of guys who were 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". I think I saw there was one guy that was 6'4". A lot of big guys went in this draft. I have to say, Taryn and Cale, this was not Anaheim's first choice for this pick. The guy that they were very much rumored to be in on was a different defenseman, Kevin Korchinski. Korchinski, however, went to the Blackhawks at 7. So the Ducks kind of had to regroup, reset, and go with the next guy on their board. Still, you've got a defenseman that put up, math on the fly here, 45 plus 17. That's 63 points in 67 games. Very offensive-minded defensive men. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. And he's still 18. He turns 19 here in November, right around Thanksgiving time. He's going to turn 19. So yeah, good young prospect. Good help for the defense there in Anaheim. Certainly not a bad way to go. They then picked again at 22, and they went with center from Quebec, from the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, Nathan Goucher, another big guy, 6'3", 207, right-handed shot. And per ESPN, he likes to fork check. He likes to put guys into the boards. All right, I'll take that. That sounds like a third or fourth line centerman to me. But at the same time, he's got skill to him. He's got scoring ability. Put up 57 points in 66 games in major junior hockey last year. So some good. He's going to turn 19 in November. So a little bit older side of this class. I mean, some of these guys in this class just turned 18 like a week ago. So older for this class, but good picks. Good solid first round picks for Anaheim this year, I think. Zach, what did you think of your Detroit Red Wings? What did you think of your spoked wheels there with their selection of Marco Kasper in the first round?
I mean the winged wheel.
Spoked wheel, winged wheel. Yeah, the thing. It is a cool looking logo.
All wheels are spoked. Yeah, I think he was a good pick from the Swedish Hockey League. Number 8, he's 6'1", 187 pounds, left-hand shooter. Comments from Steve Yzerman on him. I really like everything about the way he plays. He's got good size. He's a good skater. I think he's got good hockey sense. He can make a pass. He's got a good shot. He can carry the puck up the ice. Not flashy, but very efficient.
Yeah, good Austrian skater for the Detroit Red Wings there. Baby just turned 18 3 months ago.
Oh my gosh. They got Dylan James out of Sioux City for the U.S. Hockey League in the second round at number 40. He's 6 foot, 177 pounds, left-hand shooter. He plays left wing. Yzerman, pretty good all-around player, excellent athlete, plays hard, has a bit of a scoring touch around the net, goes up and down the wing, and plays hard.
Yeah, it seems like Detroit is getting ready to rebound a little bit after having some rough years. They seem to be making some decent moves overall.
Yeah, well, they got the new coach, Lalonde from Tampa Bay. He was a long-time assistant there. And then our former coach, it's like they're playing switcheroo. Our former coach is taking Lalonde's spot with the Lightning. Jeff Blashill. But yeah, hopefully they're in store for good things coming up. The best named award for the Red Wings picks goes to Amadeus Lombardi.
Is he supposed to be coaching music? Is he supposed to be coaching football or conducting symphonies?
Right. Neither. He's a hockey player.
Amadeus Lombardi. Okay, all right, we got to stop here for a second. You know that every hockey player has a nickname. I mean, you're not allowed to go by your given name when you're in hockey.
Oh, yeah.
You know, things like Kaner or things like that. What's the nickname for Amadeus Lombardi? How does that get turned into a hockey nickname?
The conductor, the coach. What else?
And the first thing that pops into my mind is Bardo, but
wait, why Bardo?
Because it's just shortening his last name. That's usually how it winds up. It's some play on their last name, usually.
Okay. See, I was thinking like, the Great One, or like the kid that Tampa Bay drafted. Oh yeah, I go by Iceman.
Yes, the Iceman there for Tampa Bay. Yes, yeah. Well, in fairness, his dad did call him that. His dad gave it to him because apparently he just wouldn't get off the ice. Or you got like Artemi Panarin, who is the bread man, or
because his last name is Pan is like bread in Spanish. I get it.
Yeah. And Kale wants us to point out the former U.S. Hockey League Lincoln Stars goalie that got drafted by his Vegas Golden Knights at number 128 overall. Cameron Whitehead went to the Golden Knights. You get that deep into the draft and you're purely drafting prospects, but good luck to the kid. Good that he's coming out of Lincoln and getting ready to play some hockey. We had a kid from Lincoln, Nebraska go in the first round to Winnipeg. You want to talk about, was it Winnipeg or was it, I thought it was Winnipeg. Winnipeg had multiple picks, I think. I got to find it now.
Well, you do that. Well, White Cloud plays for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now you got a Whitehead, too.
I'm sensing a theme. I'm sensing a color theme here.
Right.
We have to be very careful, though. It's very easy to go down that's a very slippery slope if we're not careful there.
Right. Well, you do that. Here's a little facts on Amadeus. He's a center. He played for the in Flint for the OHL, fourth round pick. He's 5'10", 165 pounds. Left-hand shooter. Chris Draper, who's also been a former player in the front office for the Red Wings. He's a very competitive centerman, a guy we were able to see a lot being up in Flint, and then he had a really good playoff. He's a skater, obviously. He's a worker, and he's very competitive.
Yep, when your first name's Amadeus, you pretty much have to be all those things. Here was the guy I found, 14th overall to Winnipeg, Rutger McGroarty from Lincoln, Nebraska. He now gets to go play for the Winnipeg Jets. There's a little bit of a weather difference between Lincoln, Nebraska and Winnipeg, Canada.
A little bit, but they're still both in the middle of nowhere.
That's all right. He's 6 foot 200 pounds. He'll be fine. He'll fit right in him.
Yeah.
Oh, and according to Terran's official count, we are at 2 off topics. However, if we want to keep going with the symphony bit, he'll add on a third there for us.
Ooh. Is that like 3 for the price of 2 or something?
I guess. So
Nice.
It was fun to have the draft in person again. You had WWE personalities winding up on stage of the draft. You had guys going up in their white suits. You had team executives going up there in matching suits with team logos sewn into it. You had Isaac Howard going on there with his all white suit and his American flag belt buckle that actually now that I look at the picture of it again, it's actually pretty tame as belt buckles go. That could actually be a lot more gauche now that I look at it and really contemplate it. I mean, it's still a flag, a couple of inches, all right, just go for it. It's a flag a couple of inches above your crotch, but as those things go, it's actually pretty tame, all said and told. And the suit looks sharp. It's a sharp-looking suit. I can understand why he said he was the best-looking guy there.
Right. We were talking about the Arizona Coyotes, and you joked about, you press the button in their suit, and it goes, wow. Well, for Isaac's belt buckle, you press the button and it says, America.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
You're right.
But overall, it's fun to have the draft in person again and have all the silliness and wackiness as a bunch of teenagers get drafted to their new teams and get to start their new lives. Some of them, they're still going to play in college. Some of them will jump right into the minors. Some of them will stay overseas. Heck, some of them might jump straight into the NHL. I mean, Shane Wright, I'll be stunned if he doesn't play in the NHL sometime this season, and I would not be shocked to see him just start at the NHL level. I mean, if you're Seattle, why not? What have you got to lose by just bringing him up right away?
Yeah, for sure. I think you tried to explain this to me before, but refresh my memory. So why, I'm so used to the football model and the basketball model of, okay, these guys have to be in college for at least X number of years, 1 for basketball, 3 for football, and then you can go for the draft. So why does the NHL and the MLB, they're not required to go to college, but then they still have their rights while the person is in college? I just find that so, counterintuitive to what I've learned with these other sports.
In football, they go through college because football doesn't have a developmental program. There is no minor leagues in the NFL. Okay. You have the NFL and that's it. Major college football, for all intents and purposes, is the minor leagues for the NFL. The NHL and MLB and NBA have honest to goodness developmental leagues that you can take these kids and put them into, and then not only are they further honing their skills, not only are they learning how to play hockey better, they're learning how to play hockey the Detroit Red Wings way, or the Buffalo Sabres way, or the New Jersey Devils way. You get to mold them to be exactly the player you want. That's kind of an advantage there. You get to have more control over them as they're going through their formative years there, late teens, early 20s, as opposed to in the NFL model, they're 23, 24, 25 by the time they're hit, or I guess not quite that old, 21, 22, 23 when they're hitting the draft, and you've got to learn how to use the skills they have rather than molding them into the player you want them to be.
Well, and on top of that, you look at the difference from what you're saying. The player being trained in the system of the Red Wings, of the Buffalo Sabres, et cetera, versus players getting drafted to the NFL. Well, we don't know if you played in a pro style system in college. You could have played in a more spread style offense, et cetera. So it's not necessarily the same kind of philosophy that you're gonna see when you get drafted.
Yeah. Of course, now, not everybody in hockey goes straight into the minors, too. I mean, you have players that are, hey, I've already committed to go to North Dakota. I'm committed to go to Michigan State. I'm committed to go to Minnesota. Or some guys will stay overseas. They'll stay in their Finland league. Boy, that was fun to say. Finland league.
Or the KHL or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They'll stay in their national leagues. And let's face it, I mean, if you're an 18-year-old kid from Sweden and you've only ever played European hockey, maybe you've left Sweden, but you've only gone to, say maybe Western Russia or the Slovakian league or something like that, to suddenly fly halfway across the world to US and play, in the East Coast Hockey League or the American Hockey League. No thanks. I think I'd rather stay home. I think I'd rather stay here where A, I know the language, B, I'm just more comfortable in my surroundings, and I can work on the things that they want me to work on. And then when I'm a little older and more polished, then I'll come over.
Yeah, totally.
So, I mean, I'm sure the NFL would love to grab some 18-year-old kids and develop them themselves, but then they'd have to pay them. Even if it's like minor league baseball where you get paid a pittance, you still have to pay them. The format, the setup for the NFL, hey, cool, we don't have to pay these kids a dime and they develop. Maybe they don't develop quite the way we'd like, but they develop for free. They'll take free every day.
Yeah. Okay. So the bottom line is the sports that offer a minor league option are the ones that can take them earlier on. You can draft them earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of players that definitely are not going to be playing for free, free agency starts tomorrow. There's, of course, been all kinds of crazy moves and maneuverings before the draft, during the draft, after the draft. We just had Cam Talbot earlier today get traded out of Minnesota to Ottawa because Marc-Andre Fleury is going to stay put in Minnesota. Philip.
I saw that he was the loser in all this, but I didn't see that he. Fleury was staying. There was just announced today then?
Cam Talbot just got traded today. Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Because it just the one article I said said Talbot was an unrestricted free agent. Okay, gotcha. Wow. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Holy crap.
Yep. There's always deals happening before, during, and after. And I got a restep of something I said last week. You had asked me about restricted free agency a week ago on last week's show.
Sure.
I misspoke slightly. There was a key ingredient, if you will, that I left out. With restricted free agency, there is kind of an obligation from the team. The team has to make a qualifying offer to their restricted free agents. by a certain time, I believe the day was yesterday. It was either yesterday or today. They have to make qualifying offers to those players. If they don't, then those players just go into unrestricted free agency. Whoop. And we lost Zach for a second there. Zach, are you back?
Sorry, I hit the wrong button on my headphones.
Uh-oh. That'll do it. That'll definitely do it. So, yeah, so there are...
One part in restricted free agency you missed last week?
Yeah, so there are... Teams are required to make qualifying offers to their restricted free agents first. And they have to do that a day or two ahead of free agency.
Okay.
If they don't, then that player hits the open market. For example, my Chicago Blackhawks have decided it's way too expensive to field a good team anymore. They are just full on tanking. Dylan Strome and Dominic Kubalik, two very good young forwards that they had who were set to hit restricted free agency. The Blackhawks did not offer them, did not make offers to them. They're going to hit unrestricted free agency tomorrow. They will hit the open market. Washington Capitals goalie Ilya Samsonov is going to hit the open market because the Capitals did not make a qualifying offer. So there is a requirement on the teams that they have to do something in order to protect their rights on the players. So that was something I had failed to mention last week, and I wanted to clear that up.
Okay. You guys are going to make a qualifying offer. If they don't, then they become unrestricted free agents.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha. We're talking about Chicago. Your thoughts on Alex DeBrincat? Oh no! Oh, it's a sore subject. Oh.
Why? I get that you're rebuilding, that the last couple seasons have been tough, that if it weren't for the pandemic bubble, it's been 7 seasons since they won a true, real, regular playoff series. They are very much in a bad place. But DeBrincat is a multi-40. He's scored 40 or more goals twice already in 5 NHL seasons. He's been healthy outside of, the pandemic season or the 2 pandemic seasons. He's basically played 80 games a season. Patrick Kane loves him as a teammate. He's one of the best teammates and wingers that Kane has had. And he's not even 25 yet. He's 24 years old. Yeah. Even if it takes you 4 or 5 years to rebuild the thing, because that's what they've said, is they've got a 4 or 5 year plan now to completely tear it down to the screws and then build it back up. Okay, say it takes you 5 years. DeBrincat's not even 30 then when you're ready to compete for a title. He'll still be in the prime of his career. Mm-hmm. And all they got were 3 picks for him. They didn't even get a player. They didn't even get a player from Ottawa for him. It was highway robbery is what it was, that Alex DeBrincat trade. That was... I did not weep. I did not weep. There was definitely a video done for IESR Vids and put on our TikTok page. There was definitely a TikTok video that was posted about that. So go check it out on TikTok. Go check it out. I did it over on my Chi-Town Weekly account on Twitter at IESRC. but I retweeted it and I tagged Neutral Zone in it. I had thoughts. I was not happy when that trade came down.
Were they 3 draft picks from this year or future draft picks?
Both. It was, they got the number 7 overall pick, which they then used on the young defensiveman. That was a pick they got from Ottawa. So they did get some immediate help. But for a guy like DeBrincat, he should have commanded somebody already in, at the very least, the American Hockey League, that a prospect that could have grabbed and gotten some more immediate returns on. But that's not the direction they wanted to go. I was not happy with it. I was not happy with the trade overall. Patrick Kane doesn't want to leave. He wants to be a Blackhawk for life. They're making it hard on him to be a Blackhawk for life.
Congrats to Duncan Keith on his retirement.
Yes, Duncan Keith retiring from Edmonton. He will certainly be a Hall of Famer. Now that his career is done, he is definitely going to be a Hall of Famer when all is said and done. You know, he's won the Norris Trophy a couple of times, multi-time Stanley Cup champ.
He was a Spartan and he was a Blackhawk.
What's that?
That was a win for both of us because he was a Spartan before he was a Blackhawk.
Yes, he was from your Michigan State Spartans. Yes, and the joys of hockey contracts. His retirement actually eats up $7.5 million in cap space for the Blackhawks between this season and next season.
Hang on, it eats it up or it frees it up?
It eats it up. The Blackhawks now have $7.5 million in dead cap that they can't use. It's like $5.5 million this year and $2 million next year that they can't touch because Duncan Keith retired from Edmonton.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm sorry, I don't fully understand.
It's a weird thing is what it is.
Okay.
It's actually, in this case, it's actually a good thing for the Blackhawks because they were in danger of not hitting the salary floor. Now they have no worries about that. They will hit the salary floor, no problem. But it's weird that he retired from Edmonton so Chicago can't spend money.
Yeah, that does not make sense. Yeah.
All I can say is hockey. Hockey and lawyers.
When Keith hangs up his skates, it'll generate a cap recapture penalty, adding back $5.5 mil in 22-23 and $1.9 mil in 23-24. Yep, that helps Chicago get to the salary floor. Small victories.
So let's talk free agency here for a minute or two before we got out of here, because Cale Henderson, of course, he's going to be coming on talking all things Vegas sports. He's going to be talking probably about his Las Vegas Aces, maybe about the Golden Knights. We'll see what he's got on tap for us tonight. What craziness are you expecting for free agency starting tomorrow?
Well, I actually want to talk about 2 moves I've already seen. Really picking up Ville Husso from the St. Louis Blues.
Okay.
In exchange for a 3rd round pick Friday morning. So they already have, Nedeljkovic in goal. And this will just provide more depth and more competition for Nedeljkovic just to get better. Steve Yzerman says we certainly like the season Ville had in St. Louis. And we feel he can come in and form a tandem with Nedeljkovic. We feel like we have 2 guys who can put in net every night and give us a chance to win.
Yeah, and that was not a cheap move either. That $14.25 million extension over the next 3 years. That's not a cheap chunk of change for the Red Wings when you've got Nedeljkovic already there in net.
Yeah. this makes it feel like it's strategic. Quote, there are more teams that need goalies than actual goalies available, Eiserman said. That's the purpose of the trade. Husso's 27, Nedeljkovic 26. Nedeljkovic under contract for another year with a $3 million cap hit. He can be an unrestricted free agent next summer. Wings aren't overpaying for two capable NHL goalies. They could still extend Nedeljkovic if they desire next summer. And 2021 first-round draft pick Sebastian Cossa has time to develop. We have two guys. This is Eiserman again. Quote, we have two guys who we feel can play in the league and have two guys, albeit based on somewhat of limited action in the NHL. They've shown that they can win games, Eiserman said.
Yep. It's a move that Detroit is showing it's serious. It means business. All right. Yeah. I'm looking at the time and I'm realizing we need to sound the horn. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the Neutral Zone this week. A lot of fun draft talk, a little bit of free agency talk getting in there as well tonight. We will get back to next week. Of course, we'll get back to our one question for teams. We've got the Eastern Conference coming up. We got to get through those teams and see the moves, some of the moves that they'll be doing. We'll be able to mix in some free agency action with those teams, as we'll be just about a week into free agency by the time all that happens. Thank you once again to our sponsors, the Southern California Warriors, for continuing to support not just this show, but all of the shows on the network. Thank you again to our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, MLOS Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you to Larry B. for all the hard work he does behind the scenes, keeping things moving on the network, keeping us all in line and up to date on all our taskings. Thank you to Kale and to Taryn for hanging out with us in the chat. Taryn, thank you for keeping track of all our wonderful meanderings that we do each and every week. That is much appreciated. And be sure to stick around, as Kale Henderson will be up next talking all things Las Vegas in Sin City sports. And yes, it is crazy. You're basically getting to start on time, Kale. I know we're not on hockey time tonight. We're actually on normal people time. I know it's a weird concept. He is Zach Puplis. I am Adam Karnick. Together, we are the Neutral Zone. Until next week, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, continue to enjoy your summer. As always, don't get checked into the board, and especially stay out of the penalty box. We will see you as the Neutral Zone next week. Zach will be on later this week doing Lions, Tigers, and Wings. Oh my. I will be back next week, Monday, talking all things Chicago. We will be back next Tuesday night. We will see you then.